All right, and with that being said, that was a really, really fast-moving Monday Night Football game. So we're going to go ahead and get started right now. Just want to make sure everyone can hear me on both Twitch and on YouTube. Just want to make sure everyone can hear me before we start this thing. But thank you guys for tuning in on this special Monday night edition of JG9 Live. Usually we go Sunday night. Obviously, we couldn't go Sunday night this week because it was Christmas. And I hope you guys all, if you celebrate, have a happy and holiday season. You had a very good holiday. I didn't want to go live on Christmas, but we're going to go live tonight. So with that being said, we're going to start this stream right now. Hopefully the audio is good. I am monitoring both chats. I'm monitoring the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat, so I'll get to all your questions. I don't actually know of the extension to see the chats in real time. I have both of them on right now, but I have both chats open. So thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Jaguars9. This is our weekly NFL recap on a special Monday night edition. You just want to get over game's not over yet. It pretty much is. Pretty much is. You can hear me, but volume is low. Okay. Oh, I have to turn the gain up. That's why. All right. Knew there was something. All right. Let's try that. All right. The audio's a bit low. Okay. So we should be good to go now. I have the gain all the way down for some reason because that's how I record the YouTube videos. But now the gain is back. So now we should be good to go, hopefully. All right, so my name is Jaguars9. This is our weekly NFL recap stream where we talk about everything that happened this week in the NFL. You can ask any questions you want. I will be on here for about 2 hours or so. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. If you want to have your question moved to the front of the queue, you can donate. Otherwise, I'm just going to go in the order that I see the questions. But thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for everything. $2 from Jacob Tobin. Thank you so much. How culpable is McDaniel for the concussion fiasco? I mean, I think you just gotta do tests. I mean, when the guy hits the ground, when your quarterback hits the ground, his helmet hits the ground at the rate that it did, you've got to go. You've got to go and do a test. It's too risky, especially with Tua's concussion history this season. You've got to do a test. You just have to do a test. All right. Patrick Starr ended a man's career. That was one of the funniest highlights I have ever seen in my life. Legitimately. This is a guy that got intercepted, and his lowest moment was broadcast by Patrick Starr. I've got no notes. This made the Nickelodeon broadcast entirely worth it. I need you and Patrick to do a game together. Never say never. Never say never. Thoughts on the Derwin James hit? Dirty hit. I'm not sure if he's going to play another game in the regular season. I think he could definitely get suspended for a game or two. And then you might keep him out for week 18 just to be safe. I don't think he will be... he's going to get suspended for a game, I think. McDaniel won't be fired. No, he won't be fired for this. Now, the Dolphins medical staff for not evaluating in time and not noticing him, they could get fired, but I don't think McDaniel's going to get fired. Hackett was so bad that 27% of the games he coached his entire career were dumb decisions episodes. That's got to be a record. I have a feeling Pete McCauley is going to break that record this offseason because he did not coach a whole lot of games, and he was absolutely terrible. Because he's the name that's coming up a lot. He's the name that people are like, okay, this is the first head coach to be fired in the middle of the season for game-related reasons since Pete McCauley. You guys are going to see this offseason just how bad Pete McCauley is. Dumb decisions, the theme for a lot of them is going to be Pete McCauley being the worst in-game coach ever. Like, I say Hackett's bad. McCauley has amped that to 11. So, you're going to find that out. Broski with a $2. Thank you so much for that. What are your thoughts on the Nathaniel Hackett firing? I'll get to that in a bit. Because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of questions on Hackett. Let's just say that obviously this was the right move. There's no denying it. Firing Hackett was the right move. He was a dead man walking. We knew it was coming. Because you have a new ownership group that had no ties to the previous regime, no ties to hiring Hackett, infinite money at their disposal. They can afford to do something like this. And Hackett was just terrible. He was just awful. He was one of the worst in-game coaches of all time. Someone asked me on Twitter, who was worse, Urban Meyer or Nathaniel Hackett? And If we're talking everything, it's Urban. But if we're just talking managing a game, Meyer was bad. Hackett was historically bad. Hackett, I've never seen a guy as bad. $5 from Scorpion Taz. Thank you so much for that. Do you think the Jags-Titans game will be Sunday night with it basically being for the division title? Problem is at the ratings. For Jags-Titans, especially if it's Malik Willis at quarterback, I'm not sure how good they're going to be. I could see Bengals-Ravens, but then again, Ravens would be on Sunday night back-to-back weeks. I could see a scenario where it could be Packers-Lions, but Jaguars game will either be Sunday night or Saturday night. It'll be the Buck Aikman game, or it will be the other game, the Sunday Night Football game. It's better to listen on Twitch or on YouTube. So Twitch is just how I always do it. YouTube has video. So if you do want to watch it on YouTube, you can see my face. You can see some moving slides, but Twitch, it doesn't really matter either way. I'm just glad the audio is working on both. I'm glad I figured that out. And again, welcome to the chat, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is going to be a really, really fun stream. Should the Broncos start Brett Rippon against Kansas City this upcoming Sunday? You can't go back to Russ. You can't go back to Russ. You just can't. His play is unacceptable. The team is clearly not rallying around him. You saw what happened on the sideline. And thank you for the sub, Homero Garza Jr. Thank you so much for the sub. Minshew to the Broncos. He's going to have a lot of options. He's going to have a lot of good options. I could see the Jets getting into a bidding war for Minshew. I could see definitely Denver. I could see. Who else? Maybe Washington, because they're probably not going to have a draft pick to get a quarterback that's ready right away. I could see Washington going after him. I'm sad we won't get to see Hackett go for 5 dumb decisions. You never know. The Colts are going to have a head coaching opening. You never know. Why are the Colts constantly getting primetime games? It beats me. I knew they were going to be bad at the start of the season. Most people knew they were going to be bad. I don't know why they keep getting primetime games. They will not get a whole lot next year. I can tell you that much. Honestly, I don't feel bad for Hackett at all. Dude must have gotten a huge buyout with the firing, especially with how wealthy the owners are. Oh, definitely. Definitely. Who do you think takes the AFC 7th seed? I think it will be Miami. I think Miami takes it. in the end. As a Ravens fan, Pitt Baltimore getting flexed into Sunday Night Football is surprising, but then again, we all knew in the chat getting out of Rams Bolts was stuff. Yeah, they were always going to get out of that game. That was never a surprise. I thought for the longest time it was going to be Jets Seahawks, and then both teams just collapsed. So, I think Ravens Steelers is a good pick, all things considered, especially because CBS protected Packers Vikings. What team that came out of the woodwork this year will get an influx of primetime games next year? I don't want to say an influx, but Jacksonville will get some because they have a star quarterback now. They'll get some. We have a $5 from Joe Batson. Thank you so much. Why this bidding war over Minshew? There's a reason we cut him to draft Trevor. Well, we didn't cut him. We traded him to Philly. The reason for a bidding war over Minshew, because I agree. I think he's not the best quarterback. I love the guy. I don't think he's the best. But you watch that game he had against Dallas. You watch his work in Philly. He's one of the top 32 quarterbacks in football. And I'm taking Minshew over a solid 8 starters in football right now. I think he could be a top 24 guy. Minshew's young. He's likable. People love him on the team. And he's got a lot of good traits about him. Oh, the Lions also will get some good... Yeah, the Lions will get some primetime games too. Lions will get at least 3 next year, I think. Yeah, schedule makers have been a bit weird this year, especially with the Colts. I don't get the Colts. Could you and Mike Goldberg call a game together? I'd probably leave the game. I'd probably leave by the end of the first quarter. Subreddit Legend Jaguar Gator, thank you so much. Let's see. Does Bills-Bengals next year have a case of being the game of the year? It'll be tough. It'll be tough just because, obviously, Bills-Vikings was a classic. Jaguars-Cowboys was phenomenal. But this is the most anticipated primetime game of the year. I think easily. We've had some really bad primetime games. Thursday Night Football, Monday Night Football. We've had some bad matchups. And this year, Bills-Bengals, that's one of the few matchups that was scheduled that will live up to the hype. How bad of a draft bust is Zach Wilson compared to other 21st century quarterback draft busts? Number 2? I'd say number 2. Obviously, Jamarcus Russell was worse, but I'm not sure there's a whole lot worse than Zach Wilson, especially if they're cutting ties with him after 2 years. Darnold showed some potential. Darnold's just a regular bust. I guess Joey Harrington's up there. Carr got a bad rap. I mean, he wasn't good, but his offensive line didn't help him the slightest bit. I think Wilson's the worst. Besides Jamarcus Russell of the 21st century, I think that Zach Wilson is the worst bust. Oh, he's number 2 already. Shanahan disciples and injuries. Name a more common duo. Yeah, how about the Saints? They're right back in the race for the division. I did not see that coming. I saw them being the Browns, but I did not see that coming, that they would be right in the thick of things for the division. Dennis Allen probably keeps his job now. He probably keeps his job for his second season. Do I think the Panthers win the NFC South? I think Tampa will find a way. I'm not betting against Tom Brady, even though he's way worse than he used to be. I'm not betting against Brady. Vince Young, top 5 bust? No. Vince Young, top 5 bust? Absolutely not. He got the Titans to the playoffs. He won Rookie of the Year. Granted, he wasn't great that season. I think MJD should have won Rookie of the Year. But he almost led him to the playoffs in 06. Vince Young, is he a bust? I would say so. Is he a top 5 bust of all time? Absolutely not. You think Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf, Zach Wilson, Achilles Smith, Tony Mandrich, Arch Lister, that's 6 right there who are already worse. Vernon Golston, I mean, yeah, Matt Weiner, he wasn't even the biggest bust of 06, quarterback-wise. Legitimately, though, somehow Wilson is comparable to Russell. Maybe he's worse than Russell. Jamarcus Russell will always be the worst draft bust of all time. He will always be. Because he was so bad that he legitimately changed the game for how rookie contracts are given out. If it wasn't for Russell, we don't have the rookie wage scale. Jovo with a $2, thank you so much. Should the Niners rest their starters against the Raiders? No. You don't rest your starters week 17. Week 18 I could see, but you don't want to give the guys 2 weeks off. You don't want to give the guys 2 weeks off. I think resting the starters week 17 is not a good idea. Now, there's a difference. If you have anyone that's questionable, if you have anyone that's borderline hurt, you don't play them. But resting the starters just to rest them, no. You do that week 18. Could Tua become one of the biggest what-ifs considering how his career is going right now? I'm not sure about a what-if. I mean, it'll be a question, but obviously, like, you look at guys like Bo Jackson, you look at guys like Greg Cook, you look at guys like Kajana Carter. I'm not sure Tua really fits into that because we've had a 3-year sample size with him, and we've seen what he can do. And it's, okay, he plays well in certain spots, and when the pressure's on, he doesn't play well. Gun to your head, you have to start a quarterback tomorrow, Russell Wilson or Zach Wilson. At least Russell can complete easy passes. At least Russell Wilson can complete easy passes. Like Russell Wilson, I don't think he's going to miss a 2-yard pass. He won't take a sack that's 15 yards in the backfield where he should have thrown it away. Russell's terrible. Zach Wilson is another level. Is Julio Jones the best wide receiver ever? No. Jerry Rice, Don Hudson, Steve Largent, Lance Allworth, Randy Moss. It's not even close to top 5. Why the NFL flexing Ravens Steelers when there is a chance Pittsburgh could be eliminated before the game? When Dolphins, Patriots, and Bucks, Panthers are games that will have playoff implications. Can Pittsburgh be eliminated before the game? Can they be? Like, do the Dolphins have... I don't know how the tiebreakers work, but I don't think they have to... I know if they lose, they're out, but I don't think that if anyone gets to 9... Were the Cowboys shocking? I'm not sure what's shocking about the Cowboys. Their offense is playing lights out. They beat the Eagles. They beat a team with backup quarterback. They were the favorite. It wasn't really shocking. It's a great game, but all the games sucked this week except the Cowboys and Eagles game. Packers-Dolphins was all right. Packers-Dolphins was all right. Trying to think any... Like, this was a pretty lethargic week, I will say. This was a pretty lethargic week. Buccaneers-Cardinals was an affront on the eyes. It was terrible. Is it me or have there been a lot of fumbles lately? It's not just you. A lot of guys are Travis Etienne fumbles a lot. Derrick Henry fumbles a lot. And those are just the two teams I primarily watch. The Lions are only working out their kinks. They weren't actually intending to chase a playoff spot. Yeah, Jared Goff was supposed to be the stopgap quarterback, not the franchise quarterback. They have a bit of a dilemma right now, but it's a good dilemma. Jared Goff was the guy they were taking from the Rams to eat cap and to get some picks. And now he might be the guy. Gun to your head, Zach Wilson and Garrett Wilson, or Russell Wilson and Cedric Wilson. I'd still take Russ only because I saw Zach Wilson and Garrett Wilson on Thursday. And look, if you got a shutdown corner like Tyson Campbell, you're not getting him the ball with Zach Wilson at quarterback. This week proved that indoor stadiums matter. Absolutely. When it comes to over-under, absolutely. Is it me or is it just that in the NFL all future stadiums will be indoors? They will be. They will be. In the future, there's going to be very few outdoor stadiums. And the reason for that has to do with making it year-round. Stadiums generally are not good investments for cities. They're generally not. You want a stadium that can be used year-round for concerts, for Final Fours, for marquee events. You can't really do that with an outdoor stadium. In some places you can, but in the north you can't really do that. So I think from now on, most of these stadiums are going to be indoor. There will be some exceptions, but for the most part, all future stadiums will be indoors. If the Colts and Titans got Sunday night games this year, why can't Jacksonville get one Sunday night game next season? I think they could. I think they could. Especially if they make the playoffs. The reason why we didn't get any in 2018 was because no one thought 2017 was sustainable. The Jaguars beat up on a bunch of backup quarterbacks that season. They had some good wins, but you look at a lot of the games that they played that year when they made the AFC Championship, it was a lot of backup quarterbacks, a lot of very bad teams that they played. No one believed in Blake Bortles. This year, though, or going into next year, you got Trevor Lawrence, and you know he's legit. Networks are way more likely to bank on Trevor Lawrence versus Blake Bortles in terms of being good. So I think they could get one. Who is my favorite announcer? I mean, I love Gus Johnson, but in terms of NFL guys right now, Ian Eagle is phenomenal. I'd say Ian Eagle right now. Do you think Zach Wilson could do well in the XFL or the USFL? I mean, the quality of the play in those leagues, if it's anything to go over from last year, I think he could. I think he could. Johnny Manziel, definitely a bust. No denying that, but he was picked in the 20s. To be one of the biggest busts of all time, I feel like you have to be picked inside the top 5. Maybe top 10, depending on how bad it was. But like guys like Johnny Manziel, Paxton Lynch, Tom Marinovich, they're busts, obviously. But biggest of all time, you look at, compared to the top 5 guys, no. Your Jags had a Sunday game against Pittsburgh. It got flexed out. Actually, it was a pretty good game. Al Michaels is my favorite, says someone in the chat on Twitch. He used to be really good. He has no energy anymore. He's phoned it in. He's phoned it in. We have $5 again from Scorpion. Thank you so much. If Cowboys win over the Titans Thursday, do the Jags go to Houston and play conservative knowing that Week 18 will be what matters? I don't think they will. I don't think they will. And first off, it has nothing to do with Cowboys-Titans. it's guaranteed that Week 18 is for the division no matter what. It's guaranteed. Nothing that happens on Thursday night matters. But there is a scenario. First off, I don't think we're going to play the Texans and rest our guys because we lost to the Texans earlier in the season. And I think Doug Peterson wants to keep the momentum going. He wants to keep that going. He wants to beat the Texans, wants to snap that streak, keep the momentum alive, and maybe finish with a winning record. That's important to him. But also, thank you for the follow, Lucky Dazi Kyle. Thank you so much for following on Twitch. Hope you're having fun. But also with the Jaguars, there is a scenario, and it's not too far-fetched, that they could make the playoffs as a wild card if they don't beat the Titans. And for that reason, I don't think they're going to rest their guys against the Texans. The scenario is not out of the realm of possibility. It's really not out of the realm of possibility. For the Jags to make it as a wild card, they have to beat the Texans. The Dolphins have to lose out to the Patriots and the Jets. They have to lose out, which is possible. They're reeling as of late, and Tua might not play. The Jets have to lose to Seattle on the road. The Patriots have to lose to the Bills in Week 18, who will be playing for the number 1 seed. And the Steelers have to lose 1 out of 2 to either the Ravens or the Browns. They can lose both, but they can't win both. If all that happens, the Jags can make it into the playoffs without beating the Titans Week 18. Granted, it wouldn't be ideal. They'd be the 7th seed, and they have to play Buffalo or Kansas City on the road. I'd much rather win the division, obviously, get home field, and be the 4 seed playing Baltimore or the Chargers as the 5 seed. But it's not impossible. It's really not that they could do it. It's really not. I do think the 49ers will have a Saturday Week 18 game or a primetime game on Wild Card Weekend. Saturday game, I'm not sure that they would play on Saturday because they're not playing for anything. They have the division. The Cardinals are out, so they're not playing Saturday for Week 18. Primetime game, Wild Card Weekend, depends on who their opponent is. Depends on who they're playing. I'll know more next week. Do you think the Nickelodeon broadcast team in the booth would make the Thursday night games more fun from the broadcast side, or should Al Michaels continue with the booth? I think Al and Kirk should not be the broadcasters. Al has phoned it in. He has no energy anymore. And Kirk Herbstreit is good, obviously, but his low energy doesn't work with another low energy announcer. Like, part of the reason that, like, if you put Gus Johnson and Kirk, it'd be phenomenal. It'd be phenomenal because Kirk can kind of balance it out. It's like Pat Summerall and John Madden. You put Pat with John Madden, it works perfectly. You have the yin and the yang. You have the ebb and flow. Put Pat Summerall with a guy like Herbstreit, it wouldn't work out. Noah Eagle and Nate Burleson did the Colts-Vikings game. I thought they were very good. How bad do you think Hackett was to deserve to lose his job after 1 season? The worst in-game coach I've ever seen in my life. He was that bad. I think the problem was that he was hiring guys and delegating everything, and it was like, okay, at that point, what are you here for? What do you do? I think the ownership, they had to ask themselves, especially after that Christmas game, what does Nathaniel Hackett do? He gave up play calling duties, so he doesn't do that. All the in-game stuff with clock management and challenges and situational stuff, he delegated to someone else. So what is Hackett doing? He's not really doing anything. If he's delegating everything, he's not doing anything. So why are we paying him? So he should absolutely be, he absolutely should have lost his job. I feel like there's 2 kind of bust, guys who flame out like Russell and Lynch, and guys who are backups, Trubisky and Gabbard and Carr. Yeah, I think that's a good, and there's a third bust, the injury bust. The injury busts are a third. The guys that could have been good, but they just had way too many injuries. I think Trey Lance could be in that group. Although it is early. Trying to get to all these questions again. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have 90 people here. We have some more on Twitch, so we have over 100 people watching right now, which is awesome. All right, let's see. Yeah, Liner as an analyst is pretty good. 2023 Zach Wilson USFL MVP. I don't think he's going to the USFL just yet. Think we will see more teams have someone in charge specifically of clock management, giving the plethora of bad management this season? I don't think so. People are. I don't think they're going to delegate it. I think they're going to stick to their guns, which stinks because you can tell, especially with certain guys. There are some guys that have it and some guys that don't. Arthur Smith is terrible in in-game management. He should delegate. I don't think he will. Derek Jeter or Aaron Judge? Ooh. I'll take Jeter. He's more clutch. Plus, like someone said in the chat, middle infielders are way tougher to find at an elite level than great outfielders. Should Hackett be forced to give back his salary and be blackballed from employment and forced into homelessness or prison? Holy cow. I don't think that goes far enough. I was not expecting that. Holy cow. Holy cow, that's funny. Thoughts on the Carlos Correa situation? This is why you don't announce moves before you make it happen. This is why Steve Cohen should not have announced this before, because now you've got a pickle on your hands. Now you've got a dilemma on your hands. I mean, the physical, it's got to be concerning enough for two teams to pass up on one of the best shortstops in baseball. It's got to be concerning enough for that. I think that something will happen with the Mets. I think they'll get it done. But, holy cow, this is just a giant debacle. Where do I think Sean Payton will end up? It's not going to be Denver. It won't be Denver. He'll want to go to a good spot. He'll want to go to a situation where he can be plugged in right away. If the Chargers get embarrassed in the playoffs, I could see it. I mean they get embarrassed. I mean they play Jacksonville and it's a repeat of what happened in week 3. I could see that happening, where they fire Staley and then they hire Payton. You could maybe see the Rams also if McVay steps away, because there are some reports that say McVay could walk away at the end of the season. Do the Packers sneak in the playoffs? I'm not betting against Rodgers at this point. I'm not betting against him. You have 2 games, Vikings, Lions, they're winnable. Not easy, but they're winnable. I'm not betting against Rodgers this time of year. Right now, where is Justin Fields on your QB rankings? Middle tier? I don't have a specific number, but middle tier. He's playing solid. He's playing solid football right now. How did Zach Wilson ever get to be the second pick in the draft? That schedule was weak sauce in 2020. You can thank COVID for that. You can thank COVID. If he played a regular schedule, there's no way he's number 2. There's no way. Not a chance in the world. I think what happens is these GMs overthink a lot. There's so much time in between the end of the season and the draft that they overthink everything. And they see a guy that was good in shorts and made all the throws and looked like Mahomes in workouts. Not in games, but in workouts. And they're like, let's take him. Even though Justin Fields was clearly number 2 the whole time. It's not even hindsight. It's not even like Tua and Herbert, where it's like, okay, Herbert's obviously right now better than Tua, but I like Tua more than Herbert out of college. This was very obvious that Fields was better than Wilson. For their entire collegiate careers, it was Fields over Wilson. It was only the last month or so that everyone was like Wilson over Fields. Nothing changed. It was just Wilson made a throw on the run in shorts, and that was all they needed to see. That's not how it works. As a Bears fan, I have to mention Curtis Enos, Rashaan Salam, and Kevin White as draft busts. All 3 definitely draft busts. One of the biggest bullets in Jaguars history dodged. They wanted Curtis Enos. They wanted to trade up. Couldn't get it done, so they had to settle for Fred Taylor. Worked out for them in the end. Could the Seahawks-Broncos trade of Russell Wilson be one of the worst since 2000 or since the Cowboys traded away Herschel Walker. I think it's the worst trade in NFL history. No recency bias. No nothing. There is... this is the worst trade ever. For a few reasons. Number one, the Walker trade, at least Walker could play. Did it work out? Absolutely not. At least he could play. Russell Wilson can't play. Number two, when the Russell Wilson trade was made, the Vikings didn't get worse. It's just that the Cowboys dynasty was built from it. The Broncos got worse. Number three, when the Herschel Walker trade was made, it didn't deplete the salary cap. Granted, there was no salary cap really, but it didn't deplete the salary cap for the Vikings. The Broncos are hamstrung with this for the next 5 years. They can't do anything for the next half decade. They're hamstrung. This is the worst trade of all time. The Deshaun Watson trade, look, it looks terrible right now, which I hope it continues to be terrible. I really do. I don't like Watson for obvious reasons. I don't think he should play another down in the NFL. At least Watson is young. At least Watson, he's struggling this year. He struggled in preseason, but he hadn't thrown a football in a competitive environment for a long, long time. A long, long time. So I could see him bouncing back. I can't see Russell Wilson bouncing back. He's on the decline. This trade's way worse. Thoughts on the Vikings and the crazy ways they keep finding ways to win? It's not sustainable, but it's so much fun to watch. Is there any way to watch a replay of the Nick Miss game yesterday? I regret not watching it, but I was going to pass out anyway. You can watch it on NFL Plus. NFL Plus has the Nick Miss game. So if you have an NFL Plus subscription, you can watch the Nick Miss version of the game. Would I accept the interim head coaching position for the Broncos if offered? I would need organizational control, and I would trade everyone to Jacksonville. What are your biggest concerns with Lawrence? I think he tries to play hero ball too much sometimes. He used to. He doesn't really play hero ball anymore. He's been a lot smarter over the last 2 months. He's kind of learned not to force throws. He's only had one pick in the last 2 months, and it came on a miscommunication. So, I don't think he plays hero ball. My biggest concern is ball security. He fumbles a lot. If he's getting sacked, the ball's probably coming out. We saw the Cowboys game. He's running, the ball's coming out. If it doesn't slide. That's my biggest concern. But hero ball, it was my biggest concern. It's not so much anymore. Could I see Sean Payton winning another year if the fit isn't right? I think he's antsy to get back in. You can just tell watching him on Fox. He's antsy to get back in. I don't think he's waiting. He's not waiting. Also, if Sean Payton wants to get back in, somewhere will open up. Sean Payton's a guy that most teams would fire their head coach for. If Sean Payton wants back in, someone's going to make a move. Why the Colts call a screen on 3rd and 21 down by 17 when they haven't even converted a third down all game? Jeff Saturday should not return as head coach this or next year. I mean, you call a screen pass on 3rd and 21 because your offensive line is playing terribly, and your quarterback is playing terribly. So you just try to get some blocks down the field. I don't have a problem with that call. But yeah, Jeff Saturday should not return. $5 from Scorpion again. Thank you so much, Scorpion. Does the NFL need an auto-review system for roughing calls like the NCAA has had for targeting? I think a Sky Judge would definitely help. Like what they have in the XFL and the USFL, I think a Sky Judge would help tremendously. An auto-review system for stuff like targeting, I could see it. Now, obviously, for something like Derwin James, pretty clear-cut and dry. Targeting, ejection, probable suspension, definitely a fine. But 15-yard penalties, I think they're too important. They're too important. You have to have some sort of a balancing check. And thank you for the sub. Aramis Drake, thank you so much for the sub. And thank you for the follow on Twitch. Giorgio Emporio, love the name. Thank you so much for that. Who would I rather have right now, Giants Mike Lennon or Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson. At least he's mobile. At least he's mobile. Look, I watched a half season Mike Lennon. And I watched Giants Mike Lennon last year. Russell Wilson is bad, He's not Mike Lennon. Mike Lennon is terrible. Oh, if Dolphins beat Patriots, Steelers are out. Yeah, then I'm not sure why they put Steelers Ravens then. I didn't realize that. $2 from Connor, thank you so much. What's the video topic for tomorrow? All right, good question. I'm not sure if it's on one of these slides on YouTube. But the video topic for tomorrow, we're coming to that time of year, one of my favorite times of the year, the playoffs. And that means that the next few video topics are going to be about Week 17, Week 16 playoff scenarios. Stuff like that. Like how I did the 1980 Patriots video, the 84 Giants video, the Steelers Jaguars AFC Central Division tiebreaker video. We're going to do stuff like that. So tomorrow we're going to talk about a bizarre playoff scenario from 2006. And it's not the one you're thinking of. It's not the Chiefs. It's not the Chiefs. It's a bizarre scenario from 06 that NBC was banking on happening. And it didn't happen. And it left them kind of screwed for their Sunday night game on New Year's Eve. But there was another way for that team to get into the playoffs, and it is so funny and so bizarre that I have to talk about it. Because they pretty much needed every single game in the NFL to go a certain way. It's really, really funny. I remember this happening live. Is it the Giants-Washington game? Kind of. It has to do with them for some extent. Worst division this year, AFC South or NFC South? NFC. Look, AFC South, the Jaguars have a franchise quarterback. No team in the NFC South can say that. The Jaguars are better than any team in the South right now. The Titans, they're a good team. They just have been decimated with injuries. The NFC South is just terrible. How much longer do you see Rodgers playing in Green Bay? See, it's funny. Before, about 2 weeks ago, I would have said this was his last year because you got to see what you have in Jordan Love. But I don't know anymore. I think he's got one more year. I think he plays one more year, and they pick up the fifth-year option on Jordan Love, and Rodgers plays one more year in Green Bay. Did Dez catch it? Based on the rules at the time, he did not. If the Calvin Johnson play wasn't a catch, the Dez Bryant play was not a catch. Now, under today's rules, yes, he did catch it. Do I think Derrick Henry plays on Thursday? No. The game is meaningless for the Titans. I don't think they're going to play anyone that is banged up, that is hurt. They'll play Malik Willis to give him some reps. They'll play offensive guys that are healthy for that reason, but, I mean, Vrabel flat out said he's going to rest some guys. Henry's not playing. Can we get a retrospective on Nathaniel Hackett's dumb decisions from 2022 to 2022? I have 4 dumb decisions videos on Hackett. I posted them on YouTube. I posted them on Twitter. Oh, man, he was so bad. He was so bad. I think the only one that I regret making, not regret making, but I regret saying you spent all this money on a franchise quarterback in Russell Wilson and you don't trust him. That turned out to be the right move not to trust him, because he's been terrible. But it doesn't take away from the fact that the play call was awful. He bungled that entire situation. Yeah, it is a glorified battle for the Titans. $5 from Broski89. Thank you so much. Do you think that Justin Jefferson will pass Megatron's receiving yards record for a single season? Do you want him to break the record? I mean, I want to break the record. I want to see history. I mean, records were made to be broken, and Jefferson's playing lights out. So I would love for him to break the record. Do I think he will pass the record? Let me check how many yards he needs to pass the record, because that would help. That would help if I knew that. He's got 2 games left. Now, granted, they might rest their guys week 17. That's going to be the concern. So the record is 1964. He's got 1756. So he needs 208 yards over the next 2 games. It's doable. It's doable. Right, he gets the extra game. I think he will. Under 100 a game, and especially week 17, if that game means he could get the record, they'll play him. Yeah, 100 yards a game, 104 yards a game. Yeah, it's doable. Funny how the former number 1 overall pick is playing like it. Yeah, it is. It is funny. Trayvon Walker, different story, but Trevor, yeah, he's actually playing well. Do we know the TV schedule for Wildcard Weekend? No, we do not. We do not. All we know is that ABC has the Monday night game. That's all we know. That's all we know. Thoughts on the roughing the passer call the Miami got because the defender pushed down Rodgers? I think roughing the passer has gotten ridiculous lately. Jags are still ratings poisoned to NBC for some reason. I don't know how they didn't get any Sunday night games. Probably a couple Mondays. Yeah, I could see me on a Sunday if they win the division and against a team like Cincinnati. You get a young quarterback matchup. You get Burrow against Lawrence. I could see them going for that. 2 former number 1 overall picks. Rematch of the championship. College championship. I could see that. If it's not Cincinnati on Sunday night, I'm not sure they're getting a Sunday night game. But they'll get some primetime games. How did NBC not put the Jaguars on Sunday Night Football for the brand synergy with a good place? I don't know. You have to ask Jason Mendoza that. Molotov Cocktail. Love that show. Love that show. One of the best finales of all time. One of the best finales of all time. I will say that. Is Derek Carr done? I mean, that missed throw to Renfro over the middle was inexcusable. I think he's done. With Vegas. I'm not saying he's done in the NFL. He'll get a starting job somewhere else. He's done in Vegas. They have a big decision to make money-wise, and he's not coming back. He's not the guy. Thoughts on the NBA Christmas games if you watch them? Oh, that Suns-Nuggets game. Oh, man. It stinks that the Suns are just so hurt right now because they're a good team if they're healthy, but they haven't been healthy in 2 months. Oh, man. Great game, though. Great game. Great game. That dunk by Gordon was incredible. I'm not going to lie. That was an incredible dunk. I think it was a charge, but again, I'm a Suns fan, so not taking away anything from that dunk. That dunk was incredible. Seinfeld worst finale ever. Ooh, I don't know about that. Have you ever seen the finale to Fuller House? Oh, God. The Fuller House finale. I mean, I stuck with that show just because I wanted to finish it because I was that far in and it was so bad. But holy cow, the Fuller House finale was terrible. Terrible. Fresh Prince, great finale. Great finale for Fresh Prince. So it's basically confirmed now that Hackett was mainly hired to woo Rodgers. I thought we knew that from the start. Favorite NFL announcer, Chris Myers. Who's the guy that sounds like Marv Albert that calls NFL games every week? Probably Kenny Albert, probably his son. Do you know that U.S. Bank Stadium in Minnesota actually hosts college baseball? I did know that, and it is very weird. It is very, very weird. Oh yeah, the Saints punter kicker was terrible. His brain Gary Yepremian. Although to be fair, I mean Yepremian when he was cut by the Dolphins, I mean Yepremian was all 1970s first team. He was cut by the Dolphins. He was coming off a season where he led the league in I think field goal percentage. It was a very controversial move by Shula to cut Yepremian. It was one of the toughest cuts he ever made. Oh yeah, the Pats' last touchdown was nuts. It was nuts. Have I heard the Indie Baseball League team called the American Defenders, who had a mascot named Ground Zero with the numbers 911, which the town got so tired of them that they parked a tractor on home plate in order to evict them? Are you kidding me? This is real. This is actually real. It's funny, I've heard of the Nashua Pride because they played in the Atlantic League. I heard of them because they were in the Atlantic League for a bit. And that's the league that the Long Island Ducks were in. They were the team I went to their games all the time growing up. So I've heard of them. I didn't know they changed their name to the Defenders and then did that. I did not realize that. Holy cow. Holy cow. That is nuts. That might be a story for the baseball channel. That is nuts. Holy cow. I did not know that. I did not know that. Wow. Time for a debate. Kittle better than Kelsey all around now. I'm taking Kelsey. Who's better, tight end, Kelsey or Gronkowski? All around, Kelsey. Receiving, it's Gronk. Just to put my Colts on dumb decisions tomorrow for starting Nick Foles, it will not be. They will not be on dumb decisions. Your 7th seed is going to be a bloodbath. Joe Davis Thursday night. That'd be a great move. That'd be a great move. That'd be a great move. All right, let's see where I am in terms of the questions. Should Tom Brady retire and head to the Fox booth? He's done. I mean, if it's the fourth quarter, he's fine. But I mean, he's missing throws he's never missed before. This is not the worst trade ever. The Saints trade a whole draft and more for Ricky Williams. Yeah, but at least that trade didn't destroy the Saints for years to come. Like the Russell trade is. Like, it didn't destroy their cap space. Terrible trade, obviously, but... Do you think Steve Wilkes is going to win the Panthers job? He should. He absolutely should. Would I rather have Tua or Garner start for your team, Tua? I watched Garner start for 2 years. He's not the guy. He's better than a lot of starters right now. He's not better than Tua. Are the Texans better than the record? They're playing like it right now. They're definitely playing like it right now. Their defense is really good. I will say that. Their defense is playing really well. Titans fans must be sick of hearing Andrew Catalon every week and Hall of Famer James Lofton. He's the AFC South announcer. It's better than Spiro every week. Better than hearing Greg Gumbel every week. I'd like to imagine you, Mike Goldberg, holding a game and you're just like, I'm sorry, what? Probably my reaction every time he messes up a yardage. How many games Week 18 will be for the division or winner take all? I think it will be just Jaguars Titans. Or it's winner take all. I think it'll be that. Coaches seriously need to take a quiz in situational awareness and do some practical application by playing Madden. I agree. I actually agree. If I was ever a GM or an owner and I was hiring a head coach, I would play a game of Madden. And I would play the game, and I would simulate scenarios, and I would just see what the coach would do. And he would be in my ear saying, okay, call timeout here, call this play here, let the clock run to this amount, and then do this. I would just do that. Off the top of your head, what's the most baffling draft pick in the last decade? The most baffling draft pick in the last decade. Off the top of my head. That's a good question. Most baffling draft pick. Trey Lance was kind of baffling. Trey Lance, just the whole situation, trading away the farm for him. That was very, very baffling. Aguayo in the second round was also very baffling. What team in the AFC South do I hate the most? Titans. Not even close. It's not even close. Brandon Whedon wasn't the last decade. If we're talking 2013 to 2022, if we're going back to 2012, it's Whedon. If we're going back to 2012, it's Whedon. But last decade, he doesn't count. Jordan Love, yes. Actually, Jordan Love is also there. Jordan Love, because he wasn't even that good at Utah State. I saw Fuller House and I watched it all within a week, and unlike the original, I never got tired of it. I will admit the finale wasn't great, but it wasn't the worst. Just the ending, it should have ended with everyone leaving the house, not coming back. That ruined the whole point of the ending. It made the whole season meaningless. It made the entire second half of the season meaningless. Yeah, 2012 was a decade ago. I was talking the last 10 drafts. I thought that's what the question meant. 2013, the last 10 drafts. But if we're counting 2012, it's Sweden. It's not even close. Did you keep your promise to not watch a single second of Big Noon Kickoff? I did not watch a single second of Big Noon Kickoff. I cannot watch Urban Meyer on my screen. If only you had any examples of this on your channel and making an announcement before the deal is done. You would think. The 900 videos or so I've done on history. Fuller House was pretty good until season 6 was terrible. Titans Jags can be a Saturday game. Yes, it can be. It can be. I think Saturday night or Sunday Night Football. We'll get one of those two. I'd rather do Saturday night. JG9 film critic. More like for that TV show critic, but I can be a film critic. Yeah, any true Jags fan can't stand the Titans. Worst overdrafted QB, Zach Wilson or Trubisky? Oh man. Look, I was in Mahomes as my. I would say Trubisky was worse overdrafted. Obviously, Trubisky was better than Wilson, but I think Trubisky was the worst pick just because I had Wilson as my 3, and he went 2. If we're talking quarterback side, Trevor is the 1, Fields is the 2, Wilson is the 3. In 2017, I had Trubisky way below Mahomes and Watson. Way below him. So, I think in terms of how much they reached, considering who was on the board, I would say Trubisky was worse in terms of overdrafting. I can't wait for Jaguars 7's movie channel. Movie history channel. I know a guy that could probably do very well with that. That could probably help out with that a lot. Sean Payne will go to Arizona, to the Cardinals. They're in a tough spot. Especially because we don't know what the status is for Kyler Murray. Steve Cohen is not paying all that money for the 162 regular season games. He's paying for October. True, but he's also paying 11 years, and you want to make sure the guy's healthy. Do you think Georgia and Michigan play for the title on January 9th? Yes. Yeah, I think it will be Georgia-Michigan. I've seen a lot of incompetent Walmart employees, but Hackett might be the worst. It's pretty funny. Let's see. Which is more likely, Gus Johnson replaces Al Michaels in Thursday Night Football and does games alone, or you call Thursday Night Football with someone? Probably the second option, just because you can't have one announcer in the booth. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Scorpion with a $2, thank you so much. Top 3 games this week from the competitive side. Are you talking week 17 or week 16? Are you talking the top 3 games that took place this past week, in my opinion, or the top 3 games coming up for the upcoming slate? Just want to clarify before I answer that question. All right. Let's see. Where would McVay go? I think he would go to Amazon. I think he would go to Amazon, or he would. I think he might just retire, do some studio work somewhere. Maybe Terry Bradshaw retires and he takes over at Fox. What do you think of NFL Network having a 4-man booth? I hate 4-man booths. I hate it. And Michael Irvin has no business being in a booth. No business being in a booth whatsoever. It should just be Eisen, who's not great as play-by-play. But Eisen and Warner it should be. Okay, week 16, my top 3 games. Okay, number 1, easily Philly-Dallas. That was a fun game all the way around. Number 2, Giants-Vikings. That was a fun one. My number 3 was probably Packers-Dolphins. Those are probably my top 3 games from this past week. I love watching Texans-Titans, but, I mean, that was a terrible game. Yeah, 3-man booths don't really work. They work on SNY for the Mets, but that's about the only time they work. And they worked for Nickelodeon this year. Gabby was actually very, very good. CBS should have Ian replace Nance, as Nance needs to retire soon. Noah can replace his father in the future. I think they're gearing up for that. Nance is not going to call any more college basketball after this season, and Ian Eagle will become the number 1 for that, which is long overdue. Eagle is way better than Nance when it comes to basketball, so I can't wait for that. But Nance still has a lot left in him. Nance is still very, very good at his job. He's showing no signs of slowing down. If Wilkes wins the job, where do you see the Panthers going down the line? I don't trust their quarterback situation, so it all depends on that. Plus, the other thing, if Wilkes takes the job, he's going to want his own staff. He might not keep a lot of the same coaches. He might keep some, but he might not keep them all. Should the Saints blow it up all the way, like tank? It's too late for that. At this point, might as well go for the playoffs. You don't have a first-round pick, so there's no reason to tank and lose the next 2 games. Do I think the Eagles will make the Super Bowl? I mean, they're a good team right now. Niners have a rookie quarterback. Vikings are playing way too many close games. Vikings, it's not sustainable. NFC South is a joke. Eagles or Dallas. It's going to be one of those 2, I think. I think the reason Patrick was on for so long during Nick Miss was because the game was beyond out of reach. I could see that because he was on for long periods of time. Very long periods of time. I think they could have broken it up just a bit. But overall, I thought the Nick broadcast was fantastic. I did a video on that. That came out today at 9 a.m. Eastern, or I guess yesterday at 9 a.m. Eastern, depending on where you are right now. Although it's still, we got 3 minutes till midnight. So go check that out if you haven't already. I always love doing the Nickelodeon broadcast videos. Should the Rams tank? I don't really... What are you tanking for? That's the question. Like, you don't need a quarterback. Matt Stafford's coming back next year. And he might be healthy. He might be healthy next year. You tank if you're a bad team and you have a quarterback. And you don't have a quarterback. You don't just tank for the sake of tanking. That's not how it works. Next video, you got top 5 worst trades in the NFL. Not sure I could add anything that hasn't been said already on some of those trades, but I have a top 5 in mind. What do you think the Giants go after this year now that they have a foundation? Depends on what they do with Daniel Jones. Depends on what they do with him. Because he just reminds me a lot of Blake Bortles. I don't think you're going anywhere with him. He's going to keep you out of being very bad, but he won't take you to the top. My dream Super Bowl matchup. Ideally, Jaguars Giants, ideally. It's not going to happen. If I can't pick my team, give me the Bills, give me the Vikings, give me a rematch of the regular season game. Is Herschel Walker the greatest athlete that would end up getting into politics after his playing career? I mean, Whizzer White became a Supreme Court Justice. Alan Page, one of the best defenders of all time, served a lengthy career in politics after, so no. Thoughts on NFL Network cutting off Franco Harris tribute to go to break? Awful. I'm not surprised. I am disappointed. I'm not surprised. I had a feeling they would show the ceremony and they wouldn't show the video after. I think if Harris was alive, they would stay on it the whole time. Just terrible. Absolutely terrible. Which NFL player would look amazing in a Jags uniform? I would love to see Jerry Rice in a Jags uniform. Give me a number 1 receiver. Do I think Shaq Griffin will play another game this season? No. No, he's done. I'm not sure he's playing another snap in Jacksonville again. And, you know what I really think I want him to? Darius Williams has been very good on the outside. So you're not moving back to the slot. And, apologies if you're barking in the background. That's my sister's dog. I'm still here for the holidays, so I'm not back in my regular location yet. So, apologies if you hear some barking in the background for a bit. The AP should give the AP Defensive Player of the Year to Nick Bosa now. They shouldn't wait for the honors. Right now, Bosa is my MVP on the defensive side, or Defensive Player of the Year on that side. It's between him and Micah Parsons, but I think right now I'm giving it to Bosa. Happy to catch the stream. Thank you so much. Do you see any future for Jeff Saturday or even former players being coaches in the NFL? I mean, former players always become coaches. There's always going to be room for former players. They just have to work their way up. D'Amico Ryans will get a head coaching job. And he was a great player. He will get a head coaching job next season. Jeff Saturday, no, there's no future. He's done. Why didn't Saturday bench Foles? He was so awful. It's really about, do you throw Ellinger into a situation like that where you don't want to shatter his confidence, especially if he didn't get reps with the ones that week. I don't agree. I think you should have played out. You should have had Sam play the rest of the way. He should have started and he should play the final 2 games. Because Foles is not the guy. We all know that. Sam, I don't think he's the guy either, but at least he's young. At least he could have potential. How many games have I gone to in person? At least 50 or 60. I'd probably say 60 at this point. Probably say 60. YouTube TV getting Sunday Ticket. Your thoughts? Love it. Absolutely love it. It beats DirecTV, where you can only stream 1 game at a time. I'm pretty sure YouTube you can stream multiple games. That's all I care about. The app was terrible. It was an absolute joke. YouTube, I think it's going to work perfectly. And it grows the game so much. You know how many people are going to be able to watch now across the world? My record in games attended, I don't have it on me right now, but I'm batting about 20% winning wise. Thoughts on Will Levis as the I don't get why he's quarterback one. He was not good. He's not that good. Why are we overthinking this? It's Bryce Young, it's CJ Stroud, whatever happens with those two. Those are your top two. Levis is not going first. He should not go first. Why must fans of Arizona teams put up with so much heartbreak? Oh, you're telling me. You're telling me. As a Suns fan and a D-backs fan. Oh, man. You're telling me. How do you see Rams-Chargers? Do the Chargers have a chance in the playoffs? I mean, if Herbert plays well, I think they'll get to the divisional round. I think they could. I don't think they'll go much further than that. I'm not a believer in Staley, but Rams-Chargers, I think the Chargers win. Yeah, Titans have lost 5 straight now. Yeah. Can you rank the dumb decisions videos for Hackett in order of least dumb to dumbest? Least dumb was probably the Texans play week 2, followed by the Raiders timeout, the week 1 debacle, and then throwing the ball was by far the worst. Throwing the ball against the Colts, by far the worst. You don't throw the ball, you win the game. That was by far the worst. Thoughts on Baker Mayfield's future? He's doing a good job in LA right now. I will say. He's doing a good job. Obviously, he probably won't come back to the Rams next year because Stafford will be healthy. But he'll get an opportunity to compete somewhere. Won't be guaranteed, but he'll get a chance to compete. Should I start the Jags defense against the Texans? I would. Only because last time we played the Texans defensively, we only allowed 13 points, so I would. A championship game, congratulations. Congratulations. Is John Elway to blame for the Broncos' quarterback problem? I mean, there is a common denominator. There is a common denominator. Could Jeff Saturday get a group of 5 coaching job? He should not get a head coaching job anywhere. Unless it's back in high school. He should not get a head coaching job anywhere. He has not proven himself. Unless we're talking Division 2, Division 3, anything above that level. Maybe FCS, maybe. And that's even a stretch. He should not get an opportunity to be a head coach. He has shown nothing. Dumb decisions idea. 1999, Bobby Ross going for 2 in a game. The Lions trailed by 10 and lost by 4. I mean, I don't know specifically what game that was, but just if you trail by 10, you go for 2. It's an 8-point game. It's 1 possession. That doesn't seem like a dumb decision. I'll have to watch the video. Favorite rivalry in college football? Ohio State, Michigan. If Carr is done, does that open up the Raiders as a potential destination for Brady? Yes. Yes. The Pels are injured to hell and back and beat the crap out of Indiana tonight. What you want to? Oh, I'm not. First off, it's Indiana. It's Indiana. But I'm not whining. I'm just. This team can't stay healthy, and it stinks because the biggest concern was that we had no bench. Our starters were good. Our starting 5 was good, but we had no bench. And sure enough, we're seeing that right now. Our starting 5 is just not healthy at all. Devin Booker can't stay healthy right now, and it stinks. Ted Lasso would make a better coach than Saturday. I mean, Lasso at least won a college football title somewhere. Am I going to the Super Bowl? No. 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 I mean, if the Jaguars make it, I will be going. But otherwise, no. I'm not dropping $6,000 to go to the Super Bowl. Because it'll be a pain to get to that stadium. Now, I'll be in the area, obviously. I'll be in Phoenix. But I will not be at the Super Bowl. Unless the Jaguars somehow make it. Could Titans-Jaguars get flexed Sunday night? Yes. That'll be that game or the Saturday night game. It'll be one of the two. We'll be on primetime. We'll definitely be on primetime. I'd be shocked if we're not. Is Russell Wilson a top 32 quarterback? Right now, I'm not sure he is. Right now, I'm not sure he is. Am I going to the home playoff Jags game? I'm going to the Titans game week 18. Yeah. Did I see Hawaii win the Diamond Head Classic? Yes, on the buzzer beater 3 with no time left. Good for them. Good for them. Can you do a video on Greg Roman and why he's terrible? I mean, if he makes a dumb decision, I don't like the way he's running the offense right now. It's very lethargic. We have a $5 from a smoke break. Thank you so much. Saints LSU fan here. You got to pick only one to be successful for the next 10 years. Doug Peterson's Jags or Billy Napier's Gators. Only one. Easy, Jags. Easy. Look, I'm a Gator fan, but Jaguars are... I care way more about the NFL than college. Way more. I'll miss Gator games every now and then. Jaguar games, it's not even close. Plus, I've seen the Gators win. I have not seen my team win in the NFL. It is not even close. So if I can only pick one, easily Doug Peterson. All my other teams can go winless. Every single team can go winless. If the Jags are good forever, yeah, I'll take that. Chances of making the Super Bowl this year for the Jaguars. 1%. It's not high. It's not high. Because look, you got to go through Buffalo or KC, and we played KC. We forced 4 turnovers. We still lost by 10. Suns need a power forward with mass. Cam Johnson is too small. I completely agree. Completely agree. That Jay Crowder trade, we're waiting on something. But hopefully we get a good haul for Crowder, because that's the missing piece. Once we trade away Crowder and get something, that'll be the missing piece. Favorite Jags ornament? Ooh. I have some good ones. There's one with Santa and like a kid on his lap. That's probably my favorite. I think it's on Info Shop. I love the Jags have a nice decade of success under Lawrence. I would too. That would be nice. That would be absolutely nice. The Nick game was a lot of fun, but I agree with your analysis of it when it came to the broadcast. Thank you. Thank you so much. How many years do we have to hear Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth? They both need to immediately retire and stay retired. Collinsworth, he's not going away for a while. Collinsworth is not going away for a while. Michaels, I think he's done after 1, maybe 2 more years. I think he's signed a 3-year deal with Amazon, so I think after that deal is done, he's walking away. If you have a phone at Allegiant Stadium, please tape all the fights you see and post them on YouTube. I mean, part of what made that fight in particular was that the guy had no reaction. It's very clear who the instigator was. It's very clear who was in the right, who was in the wrong. Is Denver going to get D'Amico Ryans for the defense? I think that the Broncos will hire D'Amico Ryans. Maybe Dan Quinn, but I think D'Amico Ryans. Do I believe Brock Purdy is for real? Are you skeptical, or are you still in wait-and-see mode? I am still in wait-and-see just because I want to see what happens in year 2 once teams have film on him. But right now, he's legit. He's making all the throws he's supposed to. He's thrown, 1 pick this year, and that was off the receiver's hands? He's playing very well. So I think he's legit in some sense. I'm not ready to crown him just yet, just because it's young, it's early on. Teams will figure out his tendencies. They'll have film on him. Obviously, the sophomore slump is a real thing, but Brock Purdy is legit. Brock Purdy is legit. Mac Jones in New England. Not good. Not good. And reputation now for being a dirty player. That sliding tackle, whatever he was trying to do, was inexcusable. Inexcusable. Who's going to take the 7th seed in the NFC? I think Giants get the 6, and the Packers get the 7. I think the Commanders are fallen. It will either be the Lions or the Packers that get the 7. The Seahawks are fallen, and my money right now is on Green Bay. I would not bet against the Packers. $5 again from Scorpion. Thank you so much. If you could have any 2 random commentators call a Jags game, who would it be? Man, I'd love to hear Summerall and Madden calling a Jags game. I know they've done it before, but I would love to hear it. If we're talking in the league right now, I would love to hear Gus Johnson back on the call one more time. I would love to hear that. Gus Johnson doing a Jags game again. And let's pair him with Tony. Let's go Gus and Tony. Who starts for each team in the league week 1 next year? Wow. That's a lot. Let's see. Josh Allen, Mac Jones, Tua, Mike White to start off. I'm trying to think what. Probably can't go all 32. Can't go all 32. But who starts for each team? I guess what teams get new starting quarterbacks? Tennessee could. Indy will, for sure. Houston will have a new one with the number 1 pick. I think Baltimore keeps Lamar for 1 more year. Denver will. Raiders will. Washington will. Saints will. And I guess Cardinals, depending on Kyler's injury status, I have no clue. We have a $2 from Broski. Thank you so much. Week 17 predictions. All right, early week 17 predictions. Just going right down the line. Cowboys over the Titans. I've got the Falcons over the Cardinals. McSorley's just terrible. I've got the Patriots over the Dolphins. I have the Eagles over the Saints. I'll take the Giants over the Colts. I'll take the... I really want the Panthers to win, but I'll take the Bucks over the Panthers. Chiefs over Broncos. Give me the Lions over the Bears. Give me the Browns over the Commies. Jaguars over Texans. I'll take the Niners over the Raiders. I'll take the Seahawks over the Jets. Packers over the Vikings. I'll take the Rams over the Chargers. The Steelers over the Ravens. I can't believe I'm saying that. And I will take the Bills over the Bengals. Early picks, that could obviously change. I haven't locked anything yet in with my NFL Pick'em on ESPN, but my early picks. Before the 2017 draft, what team did you think Mahomes was going to be drafted by? I didn't want him in Houston. I thought Houston was going to take him. I thought it was going to be Houston. I really did not want Houston taking him. Favorite Jags moment that I've ever seen in person? Probably the Jalen Ramsey pick against Buffalo. We're talking individual moments. The pick against Buffalo. I would also say the A.J. Boye interception against the Chargers in OT in 2017 is up there. I've seen in person. My favorite singular play, Mike Thomas, Hail Mary. The Rayshon Jenkins pick 6 is up there, though. The Rayshon Jenkins pick 6 is up there. Favorite snack at a football game? Popcorn. Jim Nantz looked disgusted at the end of the third quarter yesterday when discussing about leaving to get a snack. I did not watch the Nantz Romo broadcast, but I can imagine he was very frustrated, as I would be too. So is the Dolman line now the Daniel Jones line? Yeah, I could see it. Are the Raiders going to let Jacobs walk or pay him? I think they'll franchise him. My favorite JG9 videos is the Kaiser Stadium fight after the 1970 NFC Championship between the Niners and Cowboys. That was a fun one to do. That was a fun video to do. I have that in the works for a while. I decided, let's bust that out now. $10 from Bubba. Thank you so much. Bubba, F you Google. Thank you so much. Any chance of a video on the final game of 2003 when the Ravens had nothing to gain but played the starters all the way to OT? They beat the Steelers, which allowed them to pick Ben in the 04 draft. A butterfly effect video. Maybe. We'll see. It's a good topic, though. Thank you so much. Favorite NFL commentator of all time? It's John Madden, and it's not even close. He changed the game. Jags Eagles, we finally get the Super Bowl we won in 2018. Look, I got no problem with that. Jags against anyone in the Super Bowl, I will take. I am not beggars can't be choosers. If the Jags make it, I don't care who we play. What current eliminated playoff team do you see as being a surprise team to make the playoffs next year? Current eliminated playoff team, surprised to make the playoffs. I could see Watson bouncing back and the Browns doing some damage. But currently eliminated. There aren't a whole lot of currently eliminated teams. The Cardinals, if they get a new coach that knows what he's doing, and Kyler comes back and he's healthy, With how weak the NFC is, I could see it. Did you ever hear of the time the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl didn't have enough pizza to feed the fans during... I did not hear that. Wait, okay. Little Caesar, the official pizza sponsor of the NFL. I have not heard this story. 2013, they ran out of pizza. Holy cow. That is crazy. I have to look into that. That is a crazy story. Holy cow. Is Dennis Miller the worst color commentator on Monday Night Football ever? Jason Witten blows him out of the water. Miller at least knew how to form sentences. At least Miller knew how to use the English language. 45 years ago today, the Mud Bowl, yes. Who I think will be running back one this weekend in a PPR, half-point PPR. Running back one this weekend. Ooh. I'll go Chubb. Let's go Chubb. And thank you for the sub, Timothy LP. Thank you so much for the sub. And thank you for the follows on Twitch. Porkchop550 and Savor the Flavor. Thank you so much for that. Hope you're having fun tonight. You think Brady would ever do decent as a QB's coach? He would never be a QB's coach. He'll take the job with Fox, make $375 million, work a way less strenuous schedule. But yeah, I think if he did want to do a QB's coach, I don't see why he couldn't be successful. If the Jags won the AFC Championship, they'll be the 29th team to appear in the Super Bowl. Yep, it's us. It's the Texans, the Browns, and the Lions. Fulham look good today. They look very, very good. I'm really, really happy with Fulham. Tim Ream. How did he become one of the best center backs in the world? No clue. No clue how he became one of the best center backs. Makes no sense. At 35, he's peaking. Sublime finish today. Mitro is on fire, as is tradition. Fulham were comfortably safe, which I cannot believe I'm saying. Could make your Europa League push? It's possible. It's possible. It's crazy. Crazy. Did Staley save his job tonight? No. No. A win against the Colts did not save his job. If they get embarrassed in the playoffs, I think he still could be gone, especially if Sean Payton wants interest. What happens to Matt Ryan after the season? Cut by the Colts, and he probably retires. I think he's done. Thoughts on Jaden DeLora? In terms of his draft status, I haven't looked too much at the prospects yet. I usually wait until after the season. Did Mahomes and Herbert change how we evaluate young QBs and are called a bust after one season? I don't think it changed being called a bust after 1 year, because remember, Mahomes, the first season, he was on the bench. He didn't play the first year. He played week 17, that was it. I don't think he changed how we evaluate QBs in that regard, where you're called a bust after 1 year. I think that's just the reactionary world we live in on social media. How we evaluate QBs coming out of college, I think maybe. We value physical traits now over production. Granted, Mahomes was very productive in college. He was very productive. But you see a lot of guys that look like they might have the traits of Mahomes, but they're not the most successful. But you think you can develop them like you developed Allen. And it doesn't work like that. Does Mills continue as a QB in Houston after the season? I think he'll still be there. There's no reason not for him to be there. He's got 2 more years left on his contract. He's on a cheap deal. He could be a backup. He knows the system because I think Lovey's staying. But starting, no. With your dream Super Bowl, I'm surprised you didn't say Cardinals, Jaguars. Cards are eliminated. Also, yeah, I was eliminated to playoff eligible teams. Also, I have no ties to the Cardinals whatsoever. I go to some of their games when the Jags aren't playing. So if the Cardinals have a game on Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football, or they have a preseason game, and the Jags are not playing, I'll go. But I am not a Cardinals fan. I have no ties to the Cardinals whatsoever. I couldn't care less if they win or lose unless it impacts the Jaguars. It is not like Cardinals D-backs with baseball where I like both teams. I grew up as a Cardinals fan, and then D-backs, I go to pretty much most of their games now. So I like both teams in that regard. But NFL, it's Jags or bust. It's not even close. Is Russell Wilson done, or was he Urban Meyer this year with Hackett? He's done. He's done. Any fun stories of weird stuff I've seen at football games? All right, are we counting NFL? I'll assume we're talking any football games. I'm assuming we're talking any football games. There is one. There is one. I was at an NAL game between the Jacksonville Sharks and the Carolina Cobras. And during this game, the PA announcer said over the mic, over the PA system, true story, this was the inaugural game that the Cobras played, said, "Fans, look to the sky, there's flying pizza boxes coming down from the ceiling." I forget what company it was for, probably Domino's. But it was flying pizza boxes from the sky. And a Jacksonville Sharks player got called for a false start because a pizza box was about to land on the field. I'm like, of course he flinched. Of course he moved. A pizza box is coming. A pizza box is literally flying. Of course he moved. He's trying to dodge the possible pizza. It was a train wreck. It was a train wreck. YouTube TV currently allows 3 streams. Not sure how things will be for Sunday Ticket. 3 is better than 1. 3 is way better than 1. DirecTV allows 1. So I'll take 3. I'm not expecting to be able to watch every game, but look, 3 games, you give me that. You give me, I'm just thinking in terms of my setup that I have. You give me 3 YouTube TV games. You give me a CBS game, a Fox game. I mean, I'll take that. And then I'll figure out the rest. Which active college coach do you see becoming an NFL coach one day? Wait, let me just figure out my place in this chat. Have you seen any memorable high school football games? I mean, I remember the game where my team's starting quarterback who had a scholarship to Boston College, he tore his ACL. You could hear it pop in the booth. That was terrible. Active college head coach do you see one day succeeding in the NFL other than Jim Harbaugh, who has experience in that? It's tough going from college to the NFL and having success. It's a whole different mindset. In terms of guys having success, oh man, I don't know if I see any right now. Lincoln Riley's the obvious one, but I don't know if he'd ever leave USC. He's got a good thing going. But Lincoln Riley, if he goes to the NFL, he will be very successful. Could he get media credentials for the Super Bowl? It'd be very tough. I'm not even sure I would want the media credentials necessarily, because it's going to be so chaotic. Plus, I want to enjoy the game. I want to watch it. Why am I a Gators fan? So there are not really a whole lot of college teams where I grew up. Not a whole lot of D1 teams that got TV, that got recognition. Closest school was Army, but they don't get any coverage whatsoever. So I guess the next closest school was Rutgers in a completely different state, followed by UConn in another completely different state. So I grew up watching Tim Tebow and Chris Sleek and those Gators teams, and they were my team from now on. I'd love to see you call a game with Mike Goldberg and you just blurt out, "I'm sorry, what?" Why did Ravens Steelers get flexed to Sunday night? It was probably going to be Jets Seahawks, and then the bottom just fell out on both teams. I thought it was going to be Pats Dolphins over Ravens Steelers, but did I ever consider going to UF? Yes, multiple times. I was considering that for undergrad and for grad school. Undergrad, they were my number 2. I got into UF. I decided not to go. The school I went to had everything that I was looking for. The dorms are way nicer at the school I went to. Opportunity-wise, in terms of doing broadcasting stuff, the school I went to actually didn't have a football team. But it was just everything I was looking for. But UF, yes, I was dead set on going to UF for my whole life. And then this school just came along and it was really good. And then law school, I kind of considered it, but they didn't have a program. They didn't have the sports programs. It wasn't It wasn't that enticing. Do I allow raids? I might try to sometime. Yeah, you can raid. You can raid by all means. I have nothing against raids. Would I rather be the color commentator for Mike Goldberg or the play-by-play guy with Reggie Rucker? Probably play-by-play with Rucker, because at least I can dominate the conversation and steer him in a way. Mike Goldberg, usually the color guy is at the mercy of the play-by-play guy. Usually that's how it works, but it's not like the play-by-play guy will steer the conversation in certain ways. Play-by-play guy asks the questions. The color commentator doesn't really ask any questions. So I guess play-by-play guy for Rucker. Both would be terrible, but I would rather be play-by-play for that. How far behind the chat? I'm looking on both chats right now in terms of we're simulcasting this on Twitch and on YouTube. So I'm looking at both chats at the same time. We'll say if you do want to have we have a lot of questions, which is awesome. Thank you so much. We have over 100 people watching on both Twitch and YouTube right now, which is awesome. If you want to have your question move to the front of the queue, we have donations. I'll get to it right away. Otherwise, I'm just going to go in the order that I see them. But this is really, really good. Love doing this simulcast stream. Love doing this, and we're definitely going to do this from now on. Thoughts on Ron Pitts? Thoughts on Ron Pitts? It's fine. Don't really have any strong opinions on him. How much longer with Joe Buck? Oh, he's not going away for a long time. He's got at least another 10 years left. Do I see Justin Jefferson getting some MVP votes? I could see it. He'll win Offensive Player of the Year. I think he'll get some MVP votes. Saints get Minshew in the offseason. I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, Joe Buck, I mean, he's been good for a while now. The last decade or so, he's been very good. Buck Aikman is one of the best duos in football. Maybe the best, or second best. A siren went off in the second half of the 2005 Chargers at Eagles game. I'll have to take a look at that. I know you sent me an email before we went on stream. JG9 for league MVP. You really think the Saints are keeping Winston? No. Did I say that I think I skipped the South. I think I forgot to mention the South when I did the 32 teams. Because Tampa will have a new quarterback, and New Orleans will have a new quarterback. Maybe Carolina. Maybe. I didn't think about it before, but we could get a lot of fights between Rams and Chargers fans. Oh, definitely. We could definitely. Alcohol, New Year's Day. Oh, yeah. Do you think the 2020 QB class will end up being similar to the 04 class? I mean, 04, you have Rivers, Eli, Schaub, and Big Ben, 2 Hall of Famers. You have, in 2020, Burrow, Herbert, Tua. Yeah, you've got some good guys. Yeah, I think that's a good comparison. I think that's a good comparison. Then one QB that does nothing is Lossman, and 2020 Jordan Love as things stand. $2 from Scorpion, thank you so much. Who was worse, Urban Meyer or Matt Rule? Oh, easily Urban Meyer, easily. Matt Rule was just a bad coach. Matt Rule was just a very bad coach. Now, it got very bad at the end, but the Matt Rule tenure wasn't anything special in terms of how bad it was. It was just your standard, run-of-the-mill bad. Urban Meyer was a whole nother level. Urban Meyer kicked his own player. He brought his coaches into the room and told them that he was a winner and that they were losers. He was distraught over losing a preseason game. Literally, he was distraught over losing a preseason game. He stayed behind, didn't fly back with the team, and then grinded on a woman that wasn't his wife at a bar. He referred to the Cardinals as the Phoenix Cardinals. He talked about how the key to stopping one of the teams was to stop a player that wasn't even on the roster, who was on a completely different team. He referred to the Cardinals as the Phoenix Cardinals, repeatedly, not just a slip of the tongue, repeatedly. He said Andre Sisco played amazing against the Titans. He didn't play a single snap. He didn't know who Aaron Donald was. He said he had no say in benching James Robinson after he fumbled against the Rams, and then it came out that he did. He lied to everyone. Urban Meyer was a whole nother level of bad. A whole nother level. Matt Rule was just bad. Urban Meyer was the worst year by any coach of all time. Urban Meyer did everything terribly. Who gets the final AFC playoff spot? What did I say before? What team did I say before? Did I say a team before? If I didn't, Dolphins. What did I get for Christmas? You're gonna see in the studio when I build the studio, when I move into a new place and get my second bedroom and turn that into a studio. You're gonna see a lot of good Jaguar stuff. I will say Santa came in the clutch this year. A lot of Jaguar stuff. A lot of signed jerseys. You're gonna see. You're gonna see. Could the Jaguars get Odell Beckham Jr.? No. First off, the saga is just getting ridiculous at this point. It's getting absurd. But I don't know where he fits. I don't know where he fits in terms of this offense, because obviously this year he would fit as a 1. This year he would fit, but going forward, he wants to sign a long-term deal. And do we want to tie a lot of money to Beckham when we're tying a lot of money to Calvin Ridley? I'm not so sure, especially with his injury history. Do you have a Discord server for fans or any way to contact you for business stuff? So I have a Discord. I don't use it, but I do have an email address that you can message me on. So if you want any business related inquiries, just email me on that. And I get a lot of mail. I always respond back. Thank you so much for all the mail that people send me, emails and stuff. Really means a lot to me. And I always will take the time to respond back. So if you have any questions, just fire away in there. If Romo and Witten were commentating together, could Romo carry Witten enough to at least be decent? Well, those are two color commentators. You need a play-by-play guy. I guess Romo maybe could, but a three-man booth with Romo would be terrible because Romo doesn't shut up. Romo doesn't ever stop talking, which I'm fine with because he's very good at his job, but he would never let Witten get a word in. And Witten's problem was that he couldn't form sentences. It's not that he had no idea what he was talking about, or just that, because he had no idea what he was talking about. He couldn't form sentences. Another unpopular opinion, I really like Tessitore's play-by-play of Monday Night Football. It was really Booger and Witten in color who really stunk and brought the whole broadcast down. Tessitore got way too excited about stuff. Way too excited about mundane stuff. It didn't work. Do you think Nickelodeon should do a game from the East Coast? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like an actual like December game in the snow? I think part of why the Nickelodeon broadcast works the way it does is because you never have to worry about the weather. Think of the games that Nickelodeon has done. Saints Bears in a dome. They did Cowboys Niners, dome. They did Rams Broncos. For all intents and purposes, a dome. I'm not sure you could do the graphics and the overlays and everything if the weather's not good. I'm not sure you could do it. Tessitore is Steve Levy. Ooh, they're both not that good. They're both not that good. I would take Tessitore in that case. I would take Tessitore. Which NFL color commentator could you see doing play-by-play? I mean, it's two very different skill sets. There aren't a whole lot of guys that can make the transition to one or the other. Frank Gifford did. What color commentator could I see as a play-by-play guy? Two very different skill sets, but I guess Charles Davis probably has the best shot. But it's not going to happen. Week 18 predictions. I have no clue who's playing Week 18 in terms of who's going to rest their starters, who's going to play the guys. I guess early Week 18, this means absolutely nothing. Keep that in mind. This means nothing. Buccaneers over Falcons, Bills over Patriots over Bills, Bills over Patriots, because they'll still be playing for something. Bears over Vikings. Vikings will rest their guys. Bengals over the Ravens. Give me the Packers over the Lions. Texans over the Colts. Jags over the Titans. I'll take the Dolphins over the Jets. I'll take the Panthers over the Saints. Yeah, let's go Panthers over the Saints. Eagles over the Giants. Browns over the Steelers. No, Steelers over the... No, Browns over Steelers. Browns over Steelers. It's early. Cowboys probably rest everyone, so Commanders probably beat them, but then Cooper Rush can play. I'll still take the Commanders. Chargers over the Broncos. Even if the Chargers play their backups. Raiders over the Chiefs. Chiefs probably... No, because the Chiefs are going to be playing for something, so Chiefs over Raiders. Seahawks over Rams, and then Niners over Cardinals. If the Seahawks make the playoffs, like, is Pete Carroll done? No. This year's not on Carroll. This year is not on Carroll whatsoever. Collinsworth was actually asked to do play-by-play at one point by NBC. I did not know that. I can't see that. I could not see that. If the Packers lost to the Vikings in week 17 of 1996 and potentially by a certain amount of points, the Panthers would have been the number 1 seed that year based on the point differential tiebreaker at number 5. Did not know that. That could be a cool story. That could be a cool one. I can't wait to see if Brady's good announcing. I'm not sure he will be. Let's see. I want Tessitore to get another shot with an elite color commentator. I would not be opposed. Even if they don't make the playoffs, do you think Steve Wilkes has done enough to keep his job in Carolina, or will they look at bigger name coaching candidates? I think Wilkes should keep the job. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's got the team in a good spot right now. What is your broadcast experience, and were you color or play-by-play? So my broadcast experience, I did about 200 games worth in college across all different sports. Volleyball, baseball, basketball, soccer, track. And I did both. I started off on color. I started doing way more play-by-play my final 2 years of college. Really liked both. Color, I thrive more on color just because I had a really good play-by-play guy who I vibe with very well. But play-by-play, it's a lot different. Doing play-by-play versus color. It's a lot different. How do you like when Adam Alexander does college football games on Fox Sports 1? I don't really listen to the audio for those games. So I don't really have an opinion. Usually if I'm listening to the audio for something, I'll pick the marquee broadcast. What do you think of the Coyotes playing in a small arena? Will you go to a game at some point? They kind of have to. Glendale kicked them out, so they have no other choice. Will I go to a game? No. Tickets are way too expensive. And I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a hockey fan, really. I like watching hockey, but I'm not a fan of any team. And it's a ways out, so no. Could there be a possibility of Denver moving on from Russ after 2023 with what cap space? You can't cut him. No team's going to take him on. What current or recently retired NFL QB do you think would be a good color commentator? I think Matt Ryan has a shot. Matt Ryan, I could see. Stafford, I could also see. See Stafford doing well. Do you think Nick game will take place from an outdoor stadium next year? Would you rather have him do a regular season or a playoff game? So I did before you asked that, I did the outdoor stadium. They won't ever do that. I don't think they'll do it. The graphics aren't advanced enough for everything they want to do. Regular season or playoff game? Next year probably will be a playoff game. Probably a playoff game just because I don't think they're going to play... Well, actually, if they play on Christmas next year, they could do 2 games Monday night on Christmas. A 4:30 game and an 8 o'clock game on Christmas next year, probably. So I think they'll have to see what the ratings are. We have to see what the ratings are, the Nielsen ratings. If they're a disaster, and I don't know how they're going to be, because I addressed those concerns in the video. If they are bad, they will play it on the playoffs. If they are a success, they'll play it on Christmas again. Go to 6:12 of the following clip from the NFL and Fox Week 16 pregame show to see the graphic. Oh, yeah, the point differential graphic. Wow. Happened in the AFC where it came down to that tiebreaker back in 97. All right. Gary Danielson's the worst play-by-play guy in all sports. He's not play-by-play. Not play-by-play. Yeah, Tessitore way too excited. Toby Keith should do this year's halftime show. A country-themed halftime show I would not be opposed to, but one singular artist, Toby Keith, he doesn't have enough hits to the general public. He doesn't have enough. Just checking my email really quick. All right. Let's see where I was in the chat. My current matchup for the Super Bowl: Bills against the Cowboys, is my current pick. Did I like Hackett in Jacksonville? No, he was terrible. He was terrible. 2018, he had such unimaginative play calls. Have I ever gotten in a fight at an NFL game? All the time. I've been in at least 20 fights at games. No, I've never gotten in a fight at a game. No, I've literally never gotten in a fight at a game. No, I don't drink alcohol, so that helps a lot. But no, you don't get in fights at games. You don't get in fights at games. I know people that have. I don't get in fights at games. I ever seen a fight? Oh yeah, no, I've seen fights. Oddly enough, both times I've seen two fights in Jacksonville. Both times involved Pats fans. Oddly enough. But no, I've never been in a fight at a game. Also, I know I would not win a fight. I know for a fact I would not win a fight. I would not want to deal with the legal consequences of it. I would not want to deal with getting ejected and missing the game or being like permanently banned from the stadium. No. You don't fight at games. Do you think there will ever be another modern NFL dynasty? Yeah, I could see it. You get a QB on a rookie contract that's really good right away. Yeah, I could see it. Think the Giants re-sign Jared Goff after the season? Yes. I don't see why not. Mike Joy could see yes. Mike Joy could. Do I have a favorite college basketball program? Yes, the school I went to. Grossi rate. Oh, that'd be awesome. The Mike Goldberg video was funny. Dude was gross in that game. Thank you so much. I had requests for that for a while. I wanted to save that for December for the Lions-Vikings game, and yeah, it was great. It was great. Are you surprised that Jacksonville is in playoff contention after this train wreck of a season last year? Yeah, I'm surprised. We were 4-29 the previous 2 years. Of course I'm shocked that we're playing for the division week 18. Especially it was 2-6. We were 2-6 and we were down 17-0 the next game against the Raiders. And now we're in the playoffs, hunt. Like, this makes no sense. I still cannot fathom that we're in the playoffs. I'd love to see Your Name Tree and or Tom Grossi collabing with Joey Molinaro. I mean, Molinaro great. His impressions are phenomenal. His Seinfeld video is incredible. The Uber Seinfeld video is phenomenal. Let's see. Do I see Andy Dalton retiring after this season? No, I think he'll play another year. Any NFL honors for the Jags this year? No. No, I'd be shocked. Peterson for Coach of the Year, if they win the next two and the Eagles fall off, but no, I don't see it happening. What free agents do you want the Jags to get this offseason? There's one I care about in particular, and it's Evan Ingram. Re-sign Ingram at all costs, no matter what. Would I do a video in the offseason on top 10 dumb decisions from 2022? I might. We'll see. Are we getting a Nathaniel Hackett tribute video with I Will Remember You in the background? You have no idea how badly I wanted to make that for my Twitter. It's sad how the last 2 seasons Jacksonville has been the equivalent of Rich Kodite in his Jets career. It was bad. Do you think Zinedine Zidane is the Will Smith of sports in terms of one horrible, stupid move overshadowing an accomplished career? Will Smith with a slap and Zidane with the 06 World Cup headbutt? No, because Zidane is more than made up for that. I think now, yeah, you might think of a headbutt first, but you think of everything after the headbutt. And he's one of the most accomplished managers ever in the Champions League. So I don't think he's going to be remembered for that. Will Smith, different story, because he hasn't done anything since the slap. What's my Sunday setup like? All right. Sunday setup, and this is partially why I don't stream games, because my eyes are all over the place. I have about 11 TVs. And the reason why I have 11 is because people sell them on Facebook Marketplace for nothing. They sell them for absolutely nothing. So this is not like a fancy rich setup. This is not anything like that. I have a TV that I got as a housewarming gift when I first got the apartment, and then every other TV costs like $10-$20. Costs nothing. And I find streams and all that, and I have every game on. Plus some games from other sports. But I'll have every game on. So my setup is 11 TVs. There's the big one always has the Jaguars. The big center one always has the Jaguars. Every other TV has other NFL games, obviously. And that's done through some streaming sites. I hook up my laptop to an HDMI cord, and we go from there. And cable and whatnot. So that's my setup. Should games end in ties? Yeah. For TV reasons, for player safety reasons, yeah, no problem with games ending in ties. How different would the Jets be right now if Breece Hall didn't get hurt? Probably at least one or two more wins. Kevin Burkhardt should go to CBS when Greg Gumbel retires, take over number 4 NFL play-to-play March Madness anchor with Charles Why would he go to CBS? He's got the number 1 gig at Fox. He's their lead guy for the NFL, and he gets to call Super Bowls. Why would he give that up? Get a couple more, you can open a sports bar. Okay, Centerville Stadium, just a sauna, bleacher seats. I don't know how the Cardinals had fans back in the 90s. I really don't. You're playing games in the blistering sun. It's terrible. And then the Dolphins lose to New England without Tua. It'll be hard getting in after that. Is he going to play against the Pats? I don't know, but I think the Pats will beat the Dolphins. Could Carlos Correa become the MLB version of OBJ? Maybe given his injury history, he sits out the regular season and waits to sign with the best team to play in October. He wants to sign. He wants to play. He wants that $300 million contract. He just has a physical problem. This is nothing like OBJ. This is nothing. I hate it when Tessitore tells us what to think or what to feel. You have to love this game. Just shut up and tell me the facts, Joe. That's how I kind of felt. It got way too much. Imagine Nick calling the Saints-Bengals game in 78. What I want to see, if I could redo history, Nickelodeon calling Malice at the Palace. I would love to see that. Can you imagine Nickelodeon calling the Malice at the Palace? What would happen? Or Steelers-Bengals, the playoff game from 2015. I would love to see that happen. That would be phenomenal. Nickelodeon, Malice at the Palace. Someone make an edit of that. Someone make an edit and make it happen. Do I think the Jaguars will ever move out of Jacksonville? And if so, where? I mean, if Florida ever becomes uninhabitable in the next 100 years? But other than that, I mean, they're not moving. They're staying put. The relocation rumors ended a long time ago. This is Jacksonville's team. Nick would probably cut away from Malice at the Palace. Yeah, they probably would, but it would be so funny if they didn't. I didn't like Monday Night Football when Booger had his platform blocking the crowd. See, I had a problem with that, but I wouldn't have as much of a problem with it if the platform offered anything. The platform offered nothing. It was just for show. It offered literally nothing you couldn't get from having him in the booth or just on the sideline. The Boogermobile meant nothing. Florida isn't already uninhabitable. I mean, I don't live in Florida. I would not want to live there just because the weather is atrocious, but it's not underwater yet. If it ever gets underwater, obviously they're moving. But if Nick got to do a game every week, would you watch them? No. Part of what makes the Nick game special is that they put all their eggs in one basket for one game. Now, regular season and postseason, if you do 2 games a year, do a regular season game and a Christmas game, or a postseason game, I would do that. But every game would be too much. It'd be way too much. Part of what makes it special is that it's an annual thing. Sean McDonough is terrible at hockey. I completely agree. The hockey booth at ESPN is so bad. TNT does such a better job with their coverage. Why do you think a Nickelodeon game done in the rain or snow would be awful? I think it would be really cool. It's not that I think it would be awful. I just think the way the graphics are built in, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't look as good in the rain or the snow. I don't think they're capable of doing it. That's the thing. Like if you have bad enough weather that you can't use certain cameras because it's a safety issue, and you built shots around that, that's a problem. For something as technologically challenging as the Nick broadcast, you need the weather conditions to be perfect. Generally, the first Cardinals home game at Sun Devil Stadium was a primetime game, particularly on TNT. Yes, Sunday Football on TNT. I'll do a video on that at some point, the TNT Sunday Football. Yeah, Jack Helmsworth, he's not anything special. Any plans to do a video on Joe Montana in the studio for NBC? Yes, I have plans for that at some point. My top head coaching candidates, D'Amico Ryans is going to get some looks. Dan Quinn will get some looks. Kellen Moore should get some looks. Those are really, I think, the big three right now that will get looks. Are there any highlights of you announced the games in college on YouTube? No. No, there are not. There are definitely not. If there were, I would put them in, but there are no highlights on YouTube. Because I mainly did color, and when you do the highlights for stuff like that, you really only show the play-by-play. Plus, I went to a low Division I school, so there are not highlights there. Do I watch any of the pregame shows? Yes, I do. I watch Football Night in America. It's not that good. It should be so much better than it actually is, but it's just so bland. It's so dry. I watch the Fox show and the CBS show when they're on, and the Jaguars are playing the game right after. Nothing really to write home about. Pregame shows have gone downhill a bit. Yeah, Travis Kelce could do a good job as an analyst. He could definitely do a good job. Who wins Comeback Player of the Year and Walter Payton Man of the Year? Walter Payton, I have no clue. I have no clue who's going to win Walter Payton Man of the Year. Comeback Player of the Year, I think it'll be Gino. Are the Khans better NFL owners or wrestling promoters? Easily wrestling. Easily. I'm still convinced Khan has no idea what he's doing when it comes to running an NFL team. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is not the most charismatic of guys. Let's see. How did Notre Dame get an exclusive NBC contract? I don't know the full details. I don't know the full history of that. Could be a video topic in the future, but I don't know the full history right now. Levy is a hockey guy who was forced to do NFL. Yes. I will say Levy in the studio for hockey is very good. ESPN's studio coverage of hockey is very good. It's the announcing that's not great. Do you think Nickelodeon will ever air a college football game? Maybe the Army-Navy game on Nickelodeon. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. Because also Saturday is a very big day for cartoons on Nickelodeon, and I can't see them getting rid of that for college football. The ratings are not that good. Greg the Artist, thank you for the sub. Remember, college football is very regionalized. Very regionalized. Not like the NFL where it's national. Packers-Panthers was another crazy point differential scenario in 99. Yeah, the we need more points game. One of the best moments in NFL primetime history. The only good thing about Sunday Night Football besides the game is Carrie Underwood's theme. You're not wrong there. In terms of the announcing crew, I like the announcing crew. The camera shots are great. The music's great. But if we're talking pregame, yeah. Garth Brooks halftime show. you know the story on that. If they were to do a country halftime show, how was Carrie Underwood not been asked to do it? They haven't done a halftime show country. Not since Super Bowl 28, so that's why. Do you think Barbara would have won the Triple Crown in 06 if he didn't have that injury in the Preakness? He was so good, yeah. I think he would have. Name every team you think will get the full 5 primetime games in 2023. Buffalo. Kansas City. Philly. Dallas. Green Bay if Rodgers comes back. And San Fran. I think those 6. Favorite graphics package? Man. CBS is pretty classy. CBS is very consistent. I like CBS's. ESPN's the worst. Next time CBS has the Super Bowl, do you think they should do an alternate broadcast of with Nickelodeon? No, they should not. People won't watch that. People will not watch that. Plus, it would be a waste of money. People want to watch the main broadcasts for that. I love the Nickelodeon broadcasts. I'm not at a party, because most people watch the Super Bowl at a party. You're not convincing the person hosting the party to put on the Nickelodeon broadcast of the game. What was the tiebreaker that caused the Pats to miss in 2008? It wasn't head-to-head because they split the series. So I know it wasn't head-to-head. Tiebreaker was conference record. Dolphins were 8-4. The Pats were 7-5. Nathaniel Hackett was in dumb decisions 4 times. And no honors for the Jags this year. No honors for the Jags. What's a sport you love but would never do videos on? Ooh. I love soccer. Copyright is a nightmare on soccer. If any of these platforms or anything to go off of, trying to get anything past FIFA filters or Premier League filters without getting a strike, impossible. So, soccer, if I were to do it, it would have to be a ways away. Do I think we'll get Scorigami in the playoffs? No. No, I don't think we will. Yeah, Sentinel saying was a nightmare. I hated going there in 98, but Cards were fun to watch that year as wild cards. I can't imagine what it was like, the Cards-Chargers game storming the field. I can't imagine what that was like. Bears or Cardinals, better founding member team overall throughout history? The Bears. It's easily the Bears. Easily. It's not even close. Not even close. Jags are rumored to move to Chicago if the Bears move to the Burbs. No, it's not happening. I know Khan's ties with Illinois. It's not happening. I'm not even the slightest bit concerned. Do I think John Gruden will ever get hired again as a head coach in the NFL? No. No, he's done. MTV should do a separate telecast of an NFL and CBS game with Beavis and Butthead calling the game. You think MTV shows anything other than ridiculousness at this point? Ten years ago, people thought the Cardinals were going to move back to St. Louis and the Jags were going to move to Arizona. It's funny, I would not have been opposed to that just because, look, I love Jacksonville, but if they played in my backyard, would not have been opposed to that, but no, it's never going to happen. Do you think Disney Channel will ever do a telecast of the NFL, NBA, NHL, or college basketball? So, Disney simulcast the Pro Bowl on Disney XD, but that was a simulcast. There wasn't anything different. They tried a Marvel telecast on ESPN2. It was terrible with NBA. It was absolutely atrocious. Way too convoluted. Made no sense whatsoever. It was just a train wreck. I'm not sure what you would do it for. Because it's a lot easier to do it with cartoons and whatnot than it is to do it with live action characters. And people don't really associate Disney Channel with their cartoons as they do for Nickelodeon. Plus, there's no Disney cartoon that has that universal appeal like SpongeBob does, where it's just such a part of pop culture that's inescapable. There's no Disney Channel cartoon that you could do it for. What, Kim Possible? Phineas and Ferb? Phineas and Ferb is probably the best chance you got. But I don't know how you do it. Should CBS broadcast an alternate broadcast on CMT, a country music theme game? Not sure how that would work. Not sure how that would work. Where do I find the archival footage for your videos? A lot of stuff is on YouTube. NFL Plus, I have a subscription to that, but YouTube has a lot of stuff. You can get the footage on right there. Of the teams of potential expansion that led to the Jaguars and Panthers, what was your favorite that didn't happen? St. Louis Stallions, Memphis Hound Dogs, Baltimore Bombers. St. Louis Stallions. They had all the support. That name is great. Stallions would have been my pick if it wasn't for that. Phineas Trump also ended. I can't tell you one cartoon on Disney Channel right now. I cannot tell you one actively running cartoon on Disney Channel. Like Gravity Falls doesn't run anymore. Kim Possible doesn't run anymore. Proud Family doesn't run anymore. I know it's on Disney Plus, spin-off show. I legitimately cannot tell you one cartoon on Disney Channel. So it won't work. Do I think the NFL will expand in the next 20 years? And if so, how many teams will come at a time? If they expand, they'll probably do 4 at a time. Go to 36 and go East, Central, West. Miami Dolphins are my team. They've been my team since I was 12 years old. I'm 18 now. I hope the girl who will date me in the future will be able to handle me liking for Miami. That would be nice. That would be nice. Have yet to find a Jaguars fan anywhere near me. So if you're not Miami, I wish you luck. I wish you luck because I know your pain. I know your pain. Let's see. South Park NFL game on Comedy Central. I don't think the Shield would ever allow that, but oh, that'd be so funny. Yeah, NFL did a video on the technology for the Nickelodeon broadcast. Really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. Thoughts on players pushing the pile to get their player past the first down marker? I know why they do it. I don't like it. I know why they do it. Unless the NFL makes a rule about it or penalizes players for doing it, won't happen. Do I know how the presidential interviews during Super Bowl pregame shows started? I know it started with Obama, but I don't know how exactly the tradition started or what exactly. What kind of graphics update do you see Fox doing for its coverage? Usually it's a new score bug. Usually everyone gets new graphics for the Super Bowl. Do you think this is a breakout season from Zay Jones or just the hot streak of a few games until Thursday night? I think it's a breakout year. He's in the right scheme. He's in the right offense for him. A lot of motion, a lot of easy plays. Oh yeah, we have a very cool basketball arena. That arena was not there when I went to school. That arena we were playing in a 1,500 seat gym. It was like, don't get me wrong, it was fine, but it wasn't anything special. I've not seen the new arena in person. I've not seen the basketball arena in person. I want to go to a game though, because that arena looks gorgeous. I'm going to move to Zona. We're going to room while I find a Padres fan girlfriend. That will be hard in Arizona. There are a lot of Padres fans in Arizona. I will say that. Padres are probably the third most popular team in Arizona, behind Dodgers and the D-backs. Favorite Codename Kids Next Door character? I did not watch that show. Jags should have hired Byron Leftwich for head coach. I would have said that 11 months ago. Now, no way. No way. Kellen Moore would be a good head coach. I think that they'll go defensive. I think they'll go to Miko Ryans. Any chance I'll cover CFL versus NFL games from the late 50s, early 60s on your channel? Just a matter of finding footage. It's a matter of finding footage. So if I can find the footage, I'll do it. I'm surprised that Turner still hasn't done a Cartoon Network or Adult Swim-themed NBA broadcast. Adult Swim probably won't happen. Cartoon Network, maybe. But it's a lot tougher because the ratings might not be there. It's a lot of money to throw in. Nickelodeon puts a lot of money in that broadcast, but they know it's going to work. NBA ratings aren't great, so doing that's going to be tough. Who will be the urinating tree lol cow of the week? Probably Russell Wilson. You get bodied by Patrick Starr, you're screwed. My favorite NFL bumper music of all time, not counting sung theme songs. I think the NFL on CBS music from like the late 2000s, early 2010s, that extended intro, that minute-long intro with the black screen and the CBS logo was the pulse, that was so good. That was so good. Let's see. Who takes the last wild card in each conference? Packers and Dolphins. Top 5 color commentators right now in no particular order. Let's go Aikman. Let's go Romo. Let's go Collinsworth. Let's go Davis. And let's go Olsen. Fox graphics from 03 to 05, I have a sense of nostalgia for them. I can admit that they're terrible. I can absolutely admit that they're terrible. I have a nostalgia for them. 06, 07 Fox graphics were atrocious, but I like that sports bar look. It's kind of why I like the Bally sports graphics. They look like a sports bar. Was the Jets-Dolphins announcer-less telecast merely ahead of its time? I feel like it could work now, albeit for a similarly meaningless game as that one was. I think now that you have graphics, it could work. I think now that you actually have graphics on the screen, it could work better. Should the Blue Jackets play a Winter Classic at the Horseshoe? Yeah, that'd be a cool venue. Who is my favorite character that Nick used other than Patrick? I mean, they didn't use any other characters, really, in terms of announcing. It was just Patrick, but I thought the Yeti was great. I thought the Yeti was really, really funny. I love the implementation of some of the Yeti's graphics. Is Buddy Ryan the best defensive coordinator of all time? It'd be hard to argue. I mean, Wade Phillips was really good, but it'd be hard to argue against anyone else. Worst new stadium or arena right now? I've never been to FedEx Field, but seeing everything about it, definitely FedEx Field. Who is my favorite Jaguars radio announcer of all time? Thank you for the sub, Joe Neal7424. Thank you so much for the sub. Favorite radio announcer. So I only listen to the games on radio with Brian Sexton, so he's my number one by default, but there's only two. I do like Frank, but I only listen to games with Sexton before we had Sunday Ticket. The worst playoff team ever. I mean, the 06 Giants were bad. Worst 2-seed team was the 06 Saints. I think 2-seed team is the Saints. It's probably a good pick. Worst playoff team ever, if we're not counting 82, because 82 was kind of a messed up year. Worst playoff team ever. 90 Saints were pretty bad. 90 Saints. 84 Browns were pretty bad. Excuse me, 85 Browns. Do I think Rudy was offside? Of course he was. Of course he was. I still love the movie, but of course he was offside. What NFL team needs a full uniform makeover? Titans, when they get their new stadium, need to rebrand everything. When the Titans get their new stadium, rebrand the whole thing. Problem is that your identity is Titan blue. All right, you have two different shades of blue in your uniform. Which one's Titan blue? Everything needs a rebrand for the Titans. Are there a lot of Rams fans in Arizona? Not really. No. No, not really. A lot of Packers fans, a lot of Chiefs fans. A lot of Chiefs fans. Said I missed the mark this year. All I got for Christmas was being pepper sprayed at Denny's. We'll remember that Christmas forever. I think the Titans logo is fine. Just go back to white helmets. Yeah, if you want to keep the logo, I mean, it might need some tweaking. It looks like a flaming thumbtack, but the uniforms need some serious rebranding. Serious rebranding. I met a Rams fan in LA. True story. I don't believe you. Fox did a traveling pregame show back in 06. I like traveling pregame shows. It makes the game feel bigger than it actually than it is. I know they did a traveling pregame show because the first game I went to was Jaguars Cowboys, and they had the pregame show right by the stadium. Do I think a West Coast team will ever experiment just one home game at 10 a.m.? No. No. Too much money they'll lose out on alcohol sales and everything. Plus, we saw that happen. USC Arizona State did a 9 a.m. game. It was a disaster. How come Joe Buck sounded boring 20 years ago? I think he was trying to imitate his father, and he wasn't being himself, and then he found his identity. I think that's what happened. Miller era Monday Night Football, that was such a bad bug, yeah. Anything with team nicknames is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Favorite NFL team? Dayton Triangles. Dayton Triangles. Announcerless game would do well if Dude Perfect was the alternate broadcast. I take 1,000 alternate announcerless games over that. There will be no Dude Perfect review this one. Titans Cowboys. I care too much about that game from a Jaguars fan standpoint. I'm not watching it on Dude Perfect. So, plus I have a Patreon video that I will put out on Friday coinciding with the anniversary of a particular game that I really want to do. He requested it. I'm going to fulfill the request on, because if you're in the top tier on Patreon, you can get video requests. So I'm going to put that out on Friday. Anniversary of a certain game, certain moment. The 98 Cardinals were terrible, but they won a playoff game, so I can't call them the worst team of all time. Why did Greg Gumbel leave the number one announcer spot for CBS? I'm not sure he left. I think because he just got demoted to the studio show. I'm not sure he left. I never knew how the actor who provides the voice of Patrick Starr's name was pronounced. I didn't know until about 24 hours ago. He was really, really good. Greatest NFL teams to never make the Super Bowl, 98 Vikings. Do I think Joe Green would have been a good commentator if the strike didn't happen? No way. He was bad from day one. He never got better. He got worse. There was no improvement. He was terrible. Titans uniforms look like Toronto Argonauts uniforms. That's not a bad way of putting it. Can the Titans for one game wear red jerseys to honor the movie Remember the Titans? They have red jerseys. They look terrible. They look terrible. Is it the anniversary of a game in question based on a game of the Week 17 slate? No, it is not. It is not. It is based on a playoff game that took place on that day. Years ago. But it's not based on a game from Week 17. Yeah, Rambo Rock theme was great. With the NFL having a 7th seed, we'll be seeing more bad playoff teams. I don't disagree there. I do not disagree there. It's 1:15. We still have over 100 people in the stream. That's awesome. Thoughts on Sam Rosen? I'm not crazy about him. Not crazy. Right, Inigo will take an answer spot in the NCAA tournament. Would I trade Lawrence 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick for Mahomes? Man. Lawrence 2 first-round... I mean, do I trust Balky to make good picks in the first round? Or no, he'd be giving away the picks. Lawrence 2 firsts and a second for Mahomes. Wow. That's tough. Honestly, I would say yes. I would, but oh man. That's a tough one. Look, Mahomes has made the conference championship every single year that he's been a starter, and his team has never lost in the conference championship after regulation. So, yeah, I do it, but holy cow, that's tough. That is tough. All right. Have I ever considered running for office in politics? No, God, no. God, no. No, absolutely not. Best Rams team that didn't make the Super Bowl. Best Rams team that didn't make the Super Bowl. Oh, man, that's tough. I would probably say the best Rams team that didn't make it. No, 67 was a good team. 67 was a very good team. I'd probably say 67. 03 was also very good. Do I have an OnlyFans? No, I do not. Are the Niners low-key injury prone? I don't think it's low-key anymore. I think they are. How are things going now that you're full-time? Do you sleep more? Not really. Haven't noticed a difference yet. It's more just I don't have to get up early for anything. Now, granted, I had to get up early for like Christmas stuff, but I'll feel it mainly in the off season when I don't have to get up for law school, and I can actually be on a regular sleep schedule. It's tough right now on the East Coast because I have to stay up super late to do everything because I have to wait for the games to be done and all that, and Christmas stuff had to be early and whatnot. But once I'm back on the West Coast, which I will be once the Jags season is done, because I'm staying on the East Coast until staying on the East Coast. I was gonna go back like in a few days, but then the Jaguars were good, and there's no reason for me to go back to the West Coast if the Jags are good, because I'm going down for Week 18, and then I'll go down for the wildcard game if we win that game. So I'll be here for a bit more, so I haven't really noticed a difference yet. But once I go back West Coast and stay there for forever pretty much at that point, yeah, I'll notice a difference. I will notice a difference for sure. All right, so with that being said, I think I'm going to call it there at 1:20 in the morning on the East Coast, just because I still have to do the video for it's coming out in 8 hours. I'm in New York. Coming out in 8 hours, and I haven't started the editing process whatsoever. I'll watch Daytona. But I'm not really a huge fan of NASCAR, but I always watch Daytona. So I have to finish the script for that and get all the clips and do the audio. I have to do all that, and I have to work on the college video, which I'll probably do later. So with that being said, we have a video coming out 9 a.m. tomorrow on JG9 playoff scenario. JG8 videos should be out either tomorrow, Tuesday, or Wednesday at 6. I'm hoping for Tuesday, but we will see. Audio's been somewhat messed up on Twitch, maybe worth looking into before Wednesday. I will take a look. I'll definitely take a look at that. I'll figure out what the problem is. I'll try to at least. So, we have that. Patreon, if you want early access to videos. Thank you to all our patrons. It really, really means a lot to me. And Twitch and YouTube for NFL Trivia at 9 p.m. Eastern Wednesday night. $45 minimum for our winner. It should be a really fun night as always. So thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys on Wednesday for some NFL Trivia. And until next time, this is Jared and I signing off. Have a great rest of your night, everyone. I'll see you on Wednesday night.